So we're about to do something that might be incredibly stupid, but we need to get that big trailer, which is 20 feet long and 8 feet tall, and nearly 9 feet wide, from the Orlando area to Denver, a distance of nearly 1,900 miles. We have two different trucks to choose from, both EVs. Silverado, with its over 200 kilowatt hours of capacity, or the Cybertruck, with its measly 120. You'd think that that would make the Silverado the obvious choice, but it's actually more complicated than that. The Cybertruck is so much more efficient that the difference in time, according to a better route planner, which you can see here and here, is less than an hour over the entire trip, because the battery is so big in the Silverado, even with its very good charging curve, it is just large and takes a lot of time to put the power in. Even with the Cybertruck's inferior charging curve in a number of ways, it's just smaller and allows you to get on the road a little bit faster on the other side. Those factors combined mean you save a few stops towing with the Silverado over the Cybertruck, which is nearly 19, but you don't actually get there that much faster. And then there's the return trip. If I was towing both directions, the Silverado would probably be the clear winner. Towing back empty, I'd get a little bit of additional range, but not a lot, as others have tested. It's not a very substantial difference in total range loss in either a gas car or an electric. Based on weight, it's all aerodynamic drag at highway. But the Cybertruck is substantially more comfortable for the drive home, and for the most part, will be doing it on its own. It's also more efficient at higher speeds. The Cybertruck can drive in the 75, 85 range and still have decent range between stops. With a Silverado, once you get above 70, the range drops off like a stone. And you actually, at 85, don't actually get much better range than you do towing the trailer. And before anybody gets into it, and yes, we could do it with diesel, yes, we could do it with gas, and that's, somebody else's choice. I traded in a Duramax 2500 HD for the Silverado. I've done this trip with basically that trailer a number of times. It costs $1,700 and it saves 4 hours over the total trip. Again, total time on the trip, it adds about 10 hours on either of them in total charging time versus about 4 hours in total refueling time with a gas truck, about half of that with the diesel. That's assuming a total time to buy fuel of around 10 minutes versus the actual charging time calculated by a better route planner for either of these. I think that 10 minutes is pretty unrealistic. If you're stopping about every 2 hours with the gas truck, assuming you're going from full to 1/8 of a tank, which most people won't go down that low while towing, or at all, I think you spend much more time than that at the pump, but I'm being generous on that side of it. On the diesel side, it actually takes you longer to fuel, but you make up it in 500-mile hops, which I was easily able to do. Although I personally couldn't. I was stopping at about every 2.5 as I've gotten older. So it actually wasn't that big of a gain on the other side. Nonetheless, let's go do the drive, and we'll see how this goes. Now we show up at 2%, doing nothing but feathering our speed. Now it says we can go 70 and show up at 2%, which we're not going to do. But it just shows you how conservative the route planner actually is. That it had us showing up with negative 18% or something along those lines. So, see what we actually roll in with. I'm guessing 5% at the other end. But we're pretty close, so we may not quite get that much gain.
Did you say this one you think has a trailer pull-through one?
It looks like they're all sideways. So they're all kind of pull-through. It's the ones that are designed for cars that have the chargers on either side. At least that's what the one picture that was posted online. So
Gotcha.
Actually one of the things I want to do while we're here is get a couple better pictures and push them up to a better route planner. But we'll see. Wants us to make a U-turn at the bottom of that, so that sounds fun.
Now take exit 387 on the right.
The route planning? Yeah, probably not. Wow, it really turned up the regen. I like it. It almost feels as
In
tight
1,000
as the
feet,
Silverado.
turn right onto West Newberry Road.
Man, that's like hitting a wall.
Yeah, it's
It's-
yeah. The regen. They did a good job on the regen. It has other levels you can turn it to,
yeah.
but
Now turn right
kinda what's
onto
the
West
point?
Newberry Road.
You could just try to trust him.
worst case they can just get pushed into us.
Yeah. I'd rather not do that.
Yeah, I don't know which spot we're gonna pick.
Now your destination is on the right.
It's just not a lot of space to turn in.
Oh, you can pull through. I see what you're saying. I didn't even know it was a pull through.
Yeah. What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go around. Oh, and they have truck ones. Oh no, those are not. They're just labeled differently. So let's do this game.
I'm glad that you were here for this.
You see what I'm doing, right? It's just so I can pull straight in.
Yes. Oh yeah, I totally got what you're doing. I'm just glad you were here to do this, because I would have been like,
Gainesville Supercharger. So our first stop of many, probably something along the lines of 18. Got my coffee. Cool site. All V4 stands, 24 of them I believe. Unfortunately, still V3 chargers, so not really 800 volts yet. And the charging session came up to a little over 300 and then started backing its way off. We need to charge to 65% to get up to our next stop, which is an EVgo station. Let's take the trailer out. Connections are all good. Tires look good. Next stop we'll check tire pressure. Yeah, overall, we're in good shape. Long drive ahead of us. Another 1,800 and change miles. Okay, heading to our next stop. It says we get there with a negative 7%, but we left the last location with quite a bit higher than that, and we got in here with a decent percentage left. So we're going to give it a shot. We have a number of bailout options, but otherwise, I think we're in a good spot. I don't think it has the algorithm entirely right yet for trailering. I also need to not hit the superchargers with the trailer leaving. Oh, yeah, there we go.
In 500 feet, turn left onto Oaks Mall.
And we're off. Rolling in with 6%. Not sure this is going to be a trailer-friendly stop, so we'll have to see what happens here. But the route planner is definitely more conservative than it needs to be. Wish it would let you put a maximum speed you intend to drive in. It might actually be a little more predictable, because right now I think that's its problem. It's assuming we're going to run at 70 miles an hour, and we're just not. At the Valdesta Supercharger, which isn't being very supercharger-y, we're barely staying over 100 kilowatts. I'm not sure it's worth bouncing. We've tried 3 stations. 2 of them didn't work at all, and this one is working but slow. So I think we're stuck for a couple of minutes, and then our next station, I think we go to an EVgo and play from there. Okay, so it thinks we get through at -8, but that's played out well for us on each of these, and I am done with being in Valdesta. These chargers suck.
yeah.
So back off into the world. Well, that's the closest we've gotten so far.
We still have a mile and a half to go.
We get some regen right here, though.
Now take
That's
exit
true.
101 on the right.
2 minutes remaining to continue trip. All right, let's do it. It's hilarious. Oh, it's because we were going next door. Oh, right up to 254. Take that. See what it takes for our next stop. We came in with this one just a little close. Cordell, Georgia, stop 3. Burning away on the charger. Had to cool the handle down because it derated really, really quick off of 200. Everything looks good unhooked up, being hooked up. Thankfully there's no one else here because there really is not another good way for me to charge here without blocking a whole bunch of stations. Why Tesla didn't put the charge port or another charge port under the frunk, I guess I will never know. Probably made sense cost-wise, but oddly, dead Sonic. Never seen that before. There's really nothing in here. The Aldi's is closed. It's a pediatric urgent care, I guess, but really nothing here. On the other side of the freeway was an EVgo station at the Flying J's, but they put that in a location that you can't actually get in with the trailer without blocking the drive-through for the Arby's. So there was no real choice but to come here, but it worked. So 15 minutes here, and then we're off to the next stop, because that one's only 45 minutes away and is at a Buc-ee's, so we can actually get some food. Okay, off to our next stop, which is a Buc-ee's and a long charge, which is fine since it's a Buc-ee's and I can go get myself a burrito. So this one we get there with 9%. It's the first time we've left with it not showing a negative number. But seeing as we got into this one at 2%, it not all that bad of a thing. Let's not run the trailer too fast over the train tracks as we take a little tour through this town on our way out. Okay, onwards and upwards. Buc-ee's does nothing small. We have 10 Mercedes chargers that nobody's using and 40 Tesla chargers. 20 of the new cabinet style, but still with the 3.0 hardware behind them, and another 20 of the 3.0 chargers. It's crazy. Think about how much power has to be thrown out from all of these chargers if they were all loaded up at the same time. It's kind of nuts to think about.
In 500 feet, you will arrive at your destination.
I'm gonna get a crew cut while you're getting your pigtails, guy.
Sounds like a plan.
What are you doing?
Okay, well there's the chargers.
But
We're gonna have to drop the trailer, I think. And there is somebody sitting on the trailer.
Now you have arrived at your
See
destination.
how long he thinks he's got left?
sure,
Because that's what that spot's for.
just pull up behind him.
That's what I'm gonna do.
We're not gonna cut close, are we? You gonna make that corner? I didn't know.
Yeah. First pull-through spot that we've actually had that was officially a pull-through spot, and of course there was a random Model Y sitting in it, so we had to wait for them to leave. But this is another 105-minute charge because we need to push it through all the way to Chattanooga. There's lots of stops in between, but none of them make a whole lot of sense with the trailer. And I kind of agree with the car on what its choice is here. So, fun in the back of the grocery store in Atlanta. Oh, yet another pull-through spot. This one's actually done even better. It's its own area. It's like cut off from the rest of them. I like it. Looks like normally this is RV and bus parking. Otherwise, that might get it cut off, but. Hell of a transformer. But yeah, great spot. Charge up here in Chattanooga. Move on to our next stop. 21 minutes. Big stop in Illinois to charge up. This is stop 7. Next stop is Mount Vernon, which is relatively close. This is just a quick splash and dash. They actually set this one up nicely. You can only block a couple of chargers as long as this end one is available. Okay. So I'm blocking 2 and on the 3rd. Well, so not a bad location. Mount Vernon, Illinois Supercharger. Set up almost identical to the last one. We were able to only block a couple. So really 2 and a nudge more, but a 3 could still get in there and charge. Not a bad location. It's right off the freeway. So we'll be hopping off to the next one. Basically done charging. Wasn't a terrible charging session. Derated a little bit. I think the cable got hot. We wrapped it up and were able to speed it back up. But off to Shiloh, Illinois. St. Link, Missouri. There's some this side of St. Louis heading towards Denver. Our next stop's on the other side. Interesting charging location. If they had one stall, one on the end, turned sideways, I wouldn't have had to block the world. But a combination of where the one Model 3 is and the configuration of this station means that I have to block, well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 charging stalls. Now, if it suddenly started to fill up here and there's people waiting, I'd drop the trailer and I would come back and charge the rest of the way, but we're only here for 20 minutes. So it seems like we're getting a decent charging rate. So I'm not gonna do that. I don't feel bad since there's no one else waiting at the moment. I wish he wasn't in kind of a middle spot. And even at this end, I would have backed it up into that corner there and maybe blocked one less stall. But or if Tesla had made the cords long enough to actually reach the length of the truck down to the charger, that would have helped too. But then the cord would have been bigger and heavier and have been like the EVgo ones. But nonetheless, we're here, and then next run takes us through St. Louis, and then our stop after that. This hop is only like 54 miles, and then we've got a deep charge at the next one. That takes us pretty deep into Missouri from there. It's like a 118-mile jump. So, well, first stop we had to disconnect, and mostly because the route planner was stupid and sent us somewhere. So, Guerrero's sitting over there, we're sitting here, we're getting a 5-minute charge, and then we're bouncing to an EVgo. voltage. Oh, 106, 141. Oh, 323. We're already, because we're at 15%, we're not going to see 350.
Yeah.
But that's pretty cool. Yeah, 720 volts. The Tesla ones could only do 500, so it'll be 400 if they split the pack in half.
Okay.
So they just charge basically 2 sets of batteries at the same time. But what they'll do on the Cybertruck, and only the Cybertruck, is they'll run up to 900 amps. That's how they get the 320-ish, but they can't do it for very long. Neither can really this, but these chargers are definitely cool. It'd be nice to always have the canopy. So we're at an EVgo station in Missouri because there really isn't a good Tesla option that you can get into that you don't have to drop the trailer, as we learned at the last location. But we ran into a problem. If we don't hook the cable, it puts just a tiny bit of torque on the connector and it'll charge for 30 seconds to a minute and a half. And then the station completely airs out, turns red, and you have to call them to get it to do anything because the screen will be frozen. So, tip if you're charging probably any Tesla with an adapter, and I'm using the A to Z adapter, so good high quality one, you have to take all of the torque off, and there's a little trick for it. Welcome to Concordia, Missouri. Not a bad setup. A little bit of everything here, including a Rivian, which this is the first Rivian we have seen in days and days. And the last charging stall is actually set up to be able to be used while towing, which is amazing. Bass Pro Shop right before. These chargers have been here forever. Slow chargers with a silver ring. Kinda sorta faster chargers without silver ring. One side maxes out 175, the other side maxes out at 250 plus. Always check, because they don't actually label them different and they don't actually look different, but when they added new cabinets, they added the faster ones. And that's all that gets labeled in the tool to tell you where to go. Well, Topeka Service Center. Is an interesting set of chargers. You've got a bunch of Tesla. I've got, well, some company I've never heard of is level 2s. And then they have, it looks like the ChargePoint interface. Maybe it is. Yeah, it's ChargePoint. And then they've got a couple of ChargePoint DC fast chargers that don't say how fast they are on them. 408 amps, I guess, is what that says. 125 kilowatt. So 125 kilowatt shared. So must be on both of the cables on each one. So not very fast chargers. And then a bunch of version 3s that when I got out of the truck we were ripping away at 225, but I am freezing. So I'm going to get in the truck and I'm going to get an hour of sleep while we do a really deep charge here before we cross Kansas, because it's windy and we have almost 4,000 feet of elevation to gain before we're in Denver. Pulled in here at Abilene with 3%, already up to 10, screaming away at 257 kilowatts, which I'm guessing it's going to say it's station limited, right? Yep. Our next stop, working with a better route planner, is going to be Russell, Kansas, which is 90 miles. Oddly, the Tesla routing wants us to go to a different one that's 150 station instead of a 250. It doesn't really matter if you're fully charging. The difference is 5 minutes over the entire charge cycle. if you're doing a deep charge, which we kind of have to do going across Kansas just because of the spacing. But yeah, that's what we're gonna run. And so we got an hour and 15 minutes here to fully charge the battery up. I don't think we need quite that much, but that's what it says right now. We'll have to see how this plays out as it runs. Welcome to Abilene, Kansas, which I probably already said on the other film, so I may have to edit that out. We are the only ones here because it's 3 or in the morning or something like that. They kind of made this a trailer spot. They had designed it, I think, for me to pull in that way, but there's no way with a real trailer to make that turn and then easily be able to get out. So we kind of made our own solution. It'd be better if they had just done it this way in the first place, but thankfully, well, it's a truck, so it happily goes over the curb. Fans are screaming away. It came in at about 3% charge, so it's definitely sending it. Don't have to worry about cable pulling. It is 45 degrees out here. Almost to Denver. Supercharger is actually pretty good for trailers. This is Russell, Kansas. Next stop is Oakley, which is a little over 100 miles, so it's going to be a stretch the rest of the way, but we'll get it done. It'll work. It's definitely not as fast as the Tesla ones. What is there to prepare? Just do it. Button, maybe? Ooh, pretty. It takes a lot to really impress me, especially in the charging world, since we've been charging cars for coming on 10 years and watched infrastructure built. These Iona chargers are amazing. Grabbed a cable that's super long, Tesla needs to learn, authorized it, and was charging inside of 2 minutes. Still not Tesla fast on the authorization side, and I wish they did plug and charge, but the chargers are great. Pretty kind of 50s retro. The charging rate is good. They just kind of work. Really super impressed. Super impressed with these Iona stations. Like, crazy good. Stopped here because Tesla's got kind of a gap of decent speed chargers on I-70, which seems to be what Iona has jumped on. NACS connectors, really, just truly amazing. I really wish you got this kind of data even out of the Tesla app. With your full charging curve, which is obviously dropping off fast because we're at 67. Even shows we started at 26, we're now at 67, what our average charge rate has been, where our current is, and look, it's actually running at the pack voltage, so we don't have to cut the pack in half. Really cool. 3 more charging stops to go out of 18, 2 of which we've had to drop the trailer, which is really not a bad ratio. Not a bad location. Got a TA directly across the street, and oddly, yet again, it's in a Sonic parking lot, which has a nice playground and a dog park. Really can't complain. Okay, time to get out of here. Cup of coffee, and we go. Goodland, Kansas, our second to last stop on our journey from Orlando to Denver. Stopped at another Iona. There is a Tesla Supercharger. Right. Does anyone yet? Yep, there's still 2 cars over there. Right there at the hotel. but it's capped at 150 kilowatts versus Bay's, which I pulled well over 300 at. So why would I go over there? Oh, and it's 2 cents a kilowatt hour cheaper than Tesla even charges me. Nonetheless, loving these IANA stations. It's crazy how they're set up. Really nice long cords. At the moment, I can get the trailer in. The cords are long enough, I probably could have nosed it in. They could have used being a little longer, and it would have been nice that they made it a pull through. As it stands, I'm gonna go into that field and turn around, which maybe isn't copacetic, but it looks like lots of people have done it. This station does not show up on any of the maps right now. The only chargers that show up are these 2 little 100 amp guys, or 100 kilowatt guys in the corner there. I'm guessing that's because they only have 1 cabinet in place. So if there was a lot of people here, these aren't going to run at full rate. But I'm sure they're going to fix that momentarily. Now what I gotta do is figure out where I can buy one of these cabinets and turn them into a level 2 at home. They are gorgeous. Can use our chargers, and now we can use theirs. It's not a bad rate. I'll take it. Flagler, Colorado. I've actually never seen this diner open before, so that's pretty cool that they seem to have reopened it. So I have a couple of Electrify Americas, but I tend to not trust them, and I've had problems with them nearly every time I've used them. But then there's a bunch of Rivian Adventure Network sites, which are a little bit more expensive, but not a lot, and are super reliable. It's nice to know that we can use theirs and they can use ours, as we saw earlier, I don't know, way back in Missouri. So, second to our last charge up, and then we'll be dropping the trailer off. All delivered. Dropping it off at their house, and then I get to go find a hotel room somewhere, and he gets to pull it with his Cybertruck. So we've made it back to Florida with a trailer not with us on the way here, although it has now been towed by another Cybertruck back here and has gone all the way back again. As our friend is moving, and that was the purpose of us pulling the trailer out to them. A couple of key takeaways from the trip. With the trailer, it added about twice the amount of time. We had around 21 stops on the way out. Our average distance between hops was just a hair over 100 miles. We stretched it to as much as 130 miles, which required us to stay below 62 miles an hour. While crossing Kansas. The Supercharger network is great along it. We had to disconnect twice in the entire trip. We used a couple of IANA chargers because there are kind of long gaps on I-70. They're just too long with the trailer in the wind while you're adding nearly 3,000 feet of elevation from the beginning of Missouri to Denver. Overall, this is a great trip. I've done this trip dozens of times, towing with diesels, and where is it added 6 hours to my average of total drive time. We spent just over $600 on charging, and my average cost towing with the Duramax was in the $1,600 range. That was at $4 a gallon diesel, which of course that always fluctuates a bit. The Supercharger network on both sides. One of the things that we did learn is we can get in when it's just us,
blocking a bunch of chargers to charge without dropping the trailer. This is going to become less and less true as the Supercharger network becomes more and more full, as more Teslas come online, plus all of the other automakers. Even the locations that are set up for a vehicle that's towing aren't necessarily set up for a vehicle that's towing a 20-foot trailer. You'll see that in a couple of the pictures. You also aren't making many friends when you're blocking chargers. Our rule along this drive was if there was anybody waiting, we drop the trailer. We would never block a charger that somebody else needs at the time. That meant that when our friend towed the trailer back from Denver to here, he had to drop the trailer 4 times across his 19 stops, because there was no way for him to do that without causing a backup at the Supercharger itself. Dropping the trailer is not a huge deal. It takes 5 minutes, but then that's added 10 minutes to at least to your charging stop. That makes me wonder with some of these electric trailers coming online that will also need to charge. How are they going to line up for chargers? We'll have to see, as we currently have a Pebble on order, and we'll be looking to test that when it comes up for us, which is probably Q1 next year. Nonetheless, was an interesting drive. We'll be doing it again in the Silverado, probably towing a car trailer out if the person who we think is buying our Volt buys the Volt that's out there, and then towing it with a bunch of household goods on the way back. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out, not just on paper, which says it's not actually that much different than the Cybertruck, versus in real life. I will say, having towed 85% of the 20,000 miles that are on that Silverado, setting up charging stops requires more planning and more time, and a better route planner has that truck completely wrong. You cannot trust it with the 4WT. It's fine without the trailer, but with the trailer, no matter what profile you put together in it, it's just wrong. And since for some reason, as far as I've been able to figure out, and maybe one of you guys can throw the comments if you figured it out, I can't get it to talk to an ODBC adapter. It wants to talk to a cloud service to stream the data to them. And then when you do that, it's very far behind. So it's just not overall a good deal. Nonetheless, we'll be doing that trip in 2 weeks, so we'll record that one as well. And if you'd like to catch it, like and subscribe, and we'll get that notification out to you when it's available.